And now it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, rock cod Rick Maxa, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Royal Polaris, the world's finest long-range sports fisher. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray and rock cod Rick Maxa.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray with rock cod Rick Maxa. We're in the Mighty 1090 studios with Dr. Chugey Sepulveda from PIER. We're going to be talking fishing here on Southern California's sport fishing voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. The summer fishing season this year was nothing short of incredible, and everyone I talked to is expecting continued success well into the fall season. Your San Diego County Ford dealers are having a remarkable summer too, with no sign of slowing down. They continue to hook people up with a great selection of models that offer outstanding MPG and advanced technology, like the fun-to-drive Focus and the popular Fusion, available as a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. Ford also has an impressive list of SUVs, like Escape, Edge, Explorer, and Expedition. Well, no matter what you need, Ford has an SUV for you. And for serious fishermen that have boats to haul and gear to move, you can't beat the Ford F-150. It's not only stronger than ever, it's 700 pounds lighter, so it's faster and more efficient. Bottom line, Ford cars and trucks and SUVs are built for San Diego. Stop by your San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Inland Boat Center is the destination for your next boat. They've been around 35 years, so they're here to stay with something for everyone. Inland Boat Center has a giant inventory of all types of boats, including the perfect saltwater fishing boats made by Arima and Defiance. Inland Boat Center has a huge 2.5-acre indoor showroom with over 300 new and pre-owned boats, making them the largest boat store on the West Coast. Family-owned and operated, they are proud of their customer service. They take trades of all types. Come check out their inventory of Defiance boats from 20 to 29 feet, or the fantastic selection of the amazing Arima boats from 17 to 21 feet. Inland Boat Center has a full service department, fiberglass repair and upholstery department. Everything you need is under one roof at Inland Boat Center, 681 East San Jacinto in Paris. Check the website for the current inventory and more at inlandboatcenter.com. Information is the key to success, and inside information is even better. When it comes to fishing, inside information is critical, and that's what FishDope.com delivers. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and save fuel. FishDope.com is the only SST service with a satellite oceanographic PhD on board, the only fish finding service with a spotter plane. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Martin Island, 365 days a year. FishDope.com boasts the largest code group anywhere, covering sport boats, commercial boats, and private boaters. FishDope.com has online planning tools, moon phase, tides, hot bite icons, and more. What I'm telling you is, if you don't have FishDope.com, well, good luck. Membership costs less than 40 gallons of gas for the entire year. That's right, 1 year. What a bargain. Plus, stay tuned for the special code to save $20 on a FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. What a fun show today.
Indeed. It's been a while since we had the doctor in the house here, Dr. Chugey Sepulveda. Good morning, Chugey.
Good morning, guys. It's great to be here.
Great to have you, and I hope everybody had a Thanksgiving that is very thoughtful and fruitful, and everybody had plenty of turkey and all the good stuff and family and all that great stuff, right?
Yeah, it's time to go on a diet again.
Yeah, no kidding. I got put on the scale this morning. I was like, oh, my. Indeed. Thanksgiving certainly brings its bounty to everybody there. So hopefully everybody got through that, and they're still fish biting, which is amazing, right?
It's so crazy.
Yeah, and local fishing. We were just talking about that, right, Rick?
That was the thing. We were so stoked going into the holiday weekend with that crazy, it's late November, and we're hearing about booger catching 100 yellowfin and 200 yellowfin, and And then we had, we had a couple of days of weather where nobody was really able to get out, and then we had Thanksgiving, not a whole lot of guys out fishing, and so yesterday was the first day after, what was some significant weather to come through, and everybody was waiting, and at least in the landing was waiting by the radio, waiting to hear the Dolphins running 3-quarter-day trips, and by 11 o'clock, we finally got an update from the guys. And we're at 75 plus. It's biting, and
wow.
I know Booger ended up with over 100. These
are yellowfin tuna.
Yeah, at the end of November. December in a couple of days,
bro.
Yeah,
in a couple days
it's
December.
on.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So it's still biting. If you want to go catch some tuna for Christmas,
now
it was Thanksgiving. You can do that. And Chugey, we are talking about the conditions. You say. Of course, you study this. This is
what you do.
Is what you do. The push is still coming north, right?
Yeah, the predominant flow along the inside here. We were just out a couple of days ago. It's still piping to the north, bringing. I don't think that warm water is going to end anytime soon, and let's hope it doesn't. Right?
Yeah,
that's right,
we'll
man.
take it.
So cool.
Yeah, all the way through the winter. And you said red crab is thick.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of red crab around, which is a good thing. I think that'll keep some of the tuna around as well. It's a great forage base for all of our fish. Look at, I don't know, how many fish this summer did you cut open, Rick, that had red crab in them?
Virtually all of them. That's what was so crazy this year. And what blows me away is that how those bigger tuna can get, it just doesn't seem real that they can get that much inside of them. You cut up some
of
those
popcorn.
You look at it and their stomach is so full. It's crazy.
Yep, just swimming around filtering them. They suck them up.
That's so rad.
And that's kind of the feed for not just tuna, but a lot of creatures in the ocean.
Yeah, it's
right?
a big forage base for all of our predators. Yeah. I mean, yellowtail, from yellowtail to rockfish, calico bass, you name it. We have.
They're eating them.
Yep, they're eating them.
Yeah, and whales too. A lot of whales. Around.
Yes, birds. It's really important forage base for our entire ecosystem.
Cool. Yeah. Yep. Now, is it the biomass of red crab? Is it far greater than say squid? I mean, because we know there's a lot of squid in the ocean too.
Yeah, I believe it's one of the most predominant, forage bases for our system at least, especially further down. Sometimes we don't see as much red crab, but it's right off of Baja. So just on an El Nino, we end up seeing more of it.
It's more of a tropical base.
Yeah, temperate, mid Baja. It's a real common forage base down there, and a lot of times we won't see it because it can vertically migrate to the surface at night and then back down during the day. So if you're cruising around, you see a kind of weird red band on your meter, and you keep on going, what's going on here? It's not the bottom.
That's crazy.
It's red crab.
You said even in times when you don't necessarily see it out, wherever you are fishing offshore right now, if you were out there at nighttime, put the lights on, you'd see it up on the surface.
You'll see it migrate up in the evening, right when the sun's going down. You'll see it come up on the meter. And then you just turn the lights on, look around, it's all red.
That's rad.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Pretty cool. So what does the Flagler Institute of Environmental Research do?
So we're a small nonprofit located in Oceanside. I think we've been around for 19 years now.
Wow.
And we've studied predominantly fish that are of value, both economically and recreationally. They're all economically valuable, but we look at fish that are being, utilized right now and really focus on problem areas that have had research questions or biological questions that haven't been answered for decades, or forever.
Yeah.
Especially in the case of white sea bass, there's a lot of questions. We don't know a lot about that fish. Mm-hmm. So we've been working on white sea bass and last few years quite a bit of work on swordfish.
On swordfish, okay. Yeah. And how are we looking for sea bass and swordfish?
Well, for sea bass, I think we had a couple of really good years of fishing. I think we're going to see it taper off quite a bit for the next few years. So years where we have a lot of squid inshore, that usually coincides with peak or heightened recreational landings because it puts all that fish inside of 3 miles and it sits on a squid bed, and that's a real easy time to target them. They're really a stupid fish when it comes to sitting on a bed.
Yeah.
And then other times of the year when they're migrating, moving up the beach, a little harder to target. You got certain individuals that are really good at it, and most of us just watch those guys catch one here or there. But they spend a ton of time doing it.
Yeah.
It's like a day in, day out to catch one fish. I'd almost rather go target that tuna there and have a little more action.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So what is it about white sea bass? Where do they go? When they're not eating squid, where are they going? What are they eating? What's going on?
So a few years ago, I would say maybe 7 years ago, I would have told you, they're kind of a local resident species. From all the tagging work that we've done, we've tagged about 500 sea bass over the past few years. with archival tags, and we've been able to track their movements. We have fish going up to Canada.
No
From
way.
San Quentin going all the way to Canada.
Really?
We have fish,
Wow.
and most of the biomass, late summer, not late summer, I guess you'd say midsummer, July, a switch turns, and they just start booking to the north. And we'll have them, in the San Francisco area quite a bit, Monterey Bay area quite a bit. Wherever there's squid, that seems to be where they were going.
They're kind of following the squid.
Yeah, there's a lot of fish in Oregon this past year.
Amazing.
I just didn't. I would have never thought it was that far. You hear about just through the fishing circles. You hear about maybe up as far as the central coast of California. Oh, there's good sea bass fishing
There's
up
no
there.
targeting up there.
Yeah, and then
those guys don't fish.
They don't know.
Yeah,
how.
What
or
a trip that is. I would have never thought
Don't even
that.
know what it is when they hook one, right?
Yeah, they go, hey, what's it? No, but there are records going way back to fish being caught in Alaska occasionally, especially like an occasional bait per seine. But we also do have fish though for those individuals that still believe that they're a resident species. We do have individuals that seem to hold over in really productive areas. So like Ensenada Bay or San Quentin Bay, you'll have fish that do seem to hang out all year because there's enough food there. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, they usually move.
Yeah. And when they're not feeding on squid, are they feeding on fin bait?
Yeah, they feed quite a bit on fin bait. We see that, especially like this year coming. We probably won't see the squid biomass that we had the last few years. So you're going to see more and more of targeting with mackerel, which is, that's to me that's a little more challenging, a little more fun.
Sure,
getting them in the weeds there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what about swordfish? How are we looking for swordfish?
Swordfish. PIER has been focused the last few years on looking at their depth patterns and trying to develop a commercial gear type that'll help the dying harpoon industry. That's been our efforts for the last 5 years. We came up with the deep set buoy gear concept, which is something similar to what's being used off of Florida. You use 10 buoys, and your fishermen, the buoys, they're not mouse traps. They're not something you're going to lose because they have a radar reflector on them, a light. But you're putting a bait down deep, 1,200 feet down where they are all day long, and seems to be going really well. Right now we're in the middle of exempted fishery trials, so we're hoping in the next year or so the Pacific Council will adopt it as a acceptable gear type for the West Coast.
You said a dying harpoon industry. Why is it dying?
Well, harpoon industry relies on them basking. They've got to come up to the surface and show their fins. Unfortunately, we've seen over the past 5 years, especially with our tagging data, it's really obvious. There's been very, very little basking. It's probably because of a slightly deeper thermocline. Maybe there's a bunch of other factors that we don't know about. But if they don't show their fins and you're burning fuel all day long, you're not going to make money. And it's really unfortunate. I mean, the harpoon industry's really been dwindling.
Oh, that's a shame. But it's a very expensive way to target them because of the airplanes and like you say, the boats burning fuel. They got to cover a lot of territory.
It is, but you go back, you look back in time, and there were periods in which it was really, really productive.
Right.
78. I keep on telling myself, man, even though I was probably only 6, I should have been on a boat. Would have loved to see one.
Talk to guys like Steve Lasley that were involved in that kind of stuff, and just amazing stories.
It just seems to go up and down. Mm-hmm. And we're right now, we're probably at the end of a couple years after this El Nino, we'll probably see another peak in harpoon landings, but it's pretty slow right now.
And an incredibly clean fishery, that harpoon fishery, and that's what you guys are trying to find another something like that. Harpoon fishery, they take one fish. There's no bycatch, there's no anything. They take the fish and that's it, and that's kind of the idea of the fishery that you guys are putting together. Pretty darn selective.
Yeah, right now I think we're looking at, our marketable catch is in the high 90s in terms of 90%, 96, 97%. And and we get virtually no species of real special concern. Turtles, the species we're trying to stay away from, whales. There's no interactions there. So,
what about sharks? Is there a lot of interaction with
sharks? We see some thresher shark catch, which is a sellable species.
Sure.
So the market's not there like it was in the 80s and 90s, but at the same time, it's a species that we can also let them go. The techniques we're using, you hoist them up, you let them. If you don't want the fish, you let them go, which is
That's
a great
rad,
thing.
man.
It'll survive through the night.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when they're catching on these deep set buoy gear, when they're catching these swordfish, they're still alive when they're coming up.
Yeah, that's one of the positives is that the product is very similar to the harpoon product, which is just real high grade fish, and it's also just the concept that one guy and his gear is out there fishing the gear, and it's an artisanal gear type, and we're seeing a lot more these different restaurants and markets really craving this product, this artisanal caught product that's caught by domestic fishers. I mean, I'd pay a few dollars more instead of having to go and buy a Singapore steak.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, or allowing gear in our territory here that is more destructive than that. It certainly makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, especially where we are now. We know how that we can design this. I mean, look at technology. Look where we are now.
Right.
We can figure this out. We can make a nice, effective, sustainable, and clean fishery off our coast.
How is the health of the swordfish fishery?
You know, there's 2 stocks in the Pacific, in the North Pacific, and one is doing better than the other. The Western Central North Pacific stock is considered to be one of the healthier stocks in the world, and that's what the Hawaiian longliners fish, and that's what we probably target some of. We probably see a little bit of both the Eastern Pacific and that North Pacific stock. And all in all, there's quite a bit of exploitation from other countries other than ourselves and Mexico. I mean, we probably make up less than 10% of the effort, but they seem to be it's a healthy resource. We need,
that's good.
You know, that we should be
if we take care of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So much good information from Chugey and the work he does with PIER. The cool thing about Chugey, and very similar like a guy like Craig Heber with NOAA, is he's a fisherman. He's a hardcore fisherman. He's taking your son fishing, right?
Yeah.
5 years old.
That's a cool story.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, you're doing the science. You know the real insides and outs about fishing because it's a passion as well as your work.
It's what you grow up doing. I mean, that's the kind of that was fun. It's fun and work, you know, which is hard to explain to some folks.
Yeah, indeed.
Like your wife when you're getting ready to go fishing again for the day. Well, babe, this is what I do. I mean, I got
my
you.
job. I gotta go.
When you get home from work and then you go for fun, that's the hard one.
I got you.
Unless you're taking the 5-year-old.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Then you're
good.
You
get a mulligan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As you can hear, I have a great show lined up for you today.
Well, you're not kidding. What an awesome day today for this. So much cool information. It's going to be a great show, and we would love to have you be a part of it. If you want to join us this morning on Let's Talk Hookup, have a question that you've been dying to know, what an awesome opportunity to talk to Chugey and get your questions answered. If you do want to join us, there's 2 ways you can reach us here on Let's Talk Hookup. And first is with our local line, and that's 858 area code 457-1090. Again, 858-457-1090. That's our local line. Or you can reach us toll-free. That toll-free number, 877-792-1090. One more time, 877-792-1090. Not only will we be taking your questions today, answering all kinds of great information, having a lot of fun doing it. We're going to check in with the catch reports. Lots of great show coming. We've also got a really cool prize for one lucky caller at the end of the show today, and that's a half-day trip for 2 aboard the Daily Double out of Point Loma Sport Fishing. Includes all the tackle rental if you need it, and those guys have been having a great season. This warm water is just really keeping everything going well for the Daily Double. So good fishing for Fred and the boys there, and that's, again, going to be your shot to go fishing. 858-457-1090 or 877-792-1090. When we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls. Lots of great information coming your way. You stay tuned. You're listening to Southern California's sport fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
Want to catch the yellowfin tuna of a lifetime but don't have weeks at a time to commit trying? Then check out Journeyman Sport Fishing in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Based in Nuevo Vallarta, Journeyman offers an angling dream come true. Outstanding world-class fishery, immaculately maintained and outfitted boat, ultra-limited competition at the rail, and a Journeyman crew that has the experience and passion to make your angling dreams reality. A 2.5 day trip offers 2 full days of fishing from sunup to sundown and only requires 4 days away from your other commitments. In the 2013 season, Journeyman landed dozens of yellowfin over 200 pounds and several over 300. Choose the trip that fits your schedule. 2.5, 3.5, up to 8 days of the ultimate fishing for giant yellowfin tuna. For complete details, check the web at journeymansportfishing.com or contact 619-571-1979. Journeyman Sport Fishing, where angling dreams become reality.
For local and long-range fishing, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among seasoned or novice anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. They also do incredible Guadalupe white shark diving trips as well as a schedule of kayak mothership trips. You need to check out the Islander on their website, islander-charters.com. The Islander is San Diego's leader when it comes to 2 to 5 day fishing. Watch the website for trips and adventures available. Experience the Islander difference. Visit islander-charters.com for all the details.
Meet the Innovation Award-winning Yamaha V6 offshore 4-strokes at 300, 250, and 225 horsepower. These Predators are up to 73 pounds lighter than the competition. And with class-leading 4.2-liter displacements, they're up to 19% faster and up to 17% more fuel efficient at cruise RPM than comparable 4-strokes. And now they're available with Helmmaster, Yamaha's fully integrated boat control system. Meet the next generation of Yamaha V6 offshore 4-strokes today at your local Yamaha dealer. Helmmaster available with V6s purchased only as part of new boat packages from boat builder partners.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
Rancho Leonero was awarded the Certificate of Excellence from TripAdvisor for 4 straight years. Especially interesting, most hotels are just hotels, and most people stay in the hotel and go do their activities elsewhere. Rancho Leonero, of course, provides fishing, diving, all activities, all meals, your whole vacation. So the fact that we're so highly rated, we're very proud of it. From picking you up at the airport to dropping you off, literally everything is turnkey from there. We make it as easy as we can for you at the ranch. From your meals to whether you're going to go fishing or diving or just hang out by the pool. When you're coming to Rancho Leonero, you are coming to John Ireland's home. I guarantee the best fishing vacation experience in all of Baja. It's unique. There's nowhere that I could think of to get the same experience that you get at Rancho Leonero. Our new reservation phone number is 800-646-2252, 646-BAJA, and rancholeonero.com. It's really unique. It is. We're very proud of it.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
All right, you want to get through, talk to Dr. Chugey, here's your chance. 877-792-1090, open right now, and there's a line open at 858-457-1090. You want to go half-day fishing with Fred and the boys aboard the Daily Double and talk to Dr. Chugey. There you go. Let's go ahead and jump into those phones, Rick.
You got it, man. How about we start it off this morning with Don, who's calling us from Woodland Hills. Don, thanks for getting us started here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, guys. Good morning and belated happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
You, Don.
Hey, Dr. Sepulveda, first, I really enjoy listening to you on the radio show, so thank you, Pete, for bringing them back on a regular basis. My question for you, Dr. Sepulveda, has to do with the bluefin stock here along the California coast. With the recent decrease in the sport fishing catch limit, and just recently Mexico allowing it to happen again. One, what's your thoughts on the how long it'll take to get the outcome that everybody's looking for, which is an increased healthiness of the stock? And two, what do you think the commercials could be doing to help out as well?
Well, I think in order for us to see, so I guess the couple questions, we're going to have to revisit one of them in a second, but first off, what's it going to take? It's going to take cooperation from a lot of folks other than those that live in our country, because we're only, don't quote me on this, but we're less than 10%, I think more like 4% of the effort in the Eastern Pacific. Mexico takes a lot more fish than we do. And it's still, the bottom line is there are other countries like Japan that need to cooperate, because if we can cut back to zero. And it's not going to make a big difference unless everyone does. But, the U.S. Usually leads by example with these types of things. So it's up to us to move forward with a conservative approach, and we're hoping that everybody else follows.
Yeah. So
that's that needs to happen in order for us to see the result. Fortunately, tuna, a lot of these other pelagic species can be, they're very fecund. And if you have a couple good years of recruitment, you can see a situation turn around quite quickly. But then again, that's going to be dependent on our fishing pressure.
One of the issues with bluefin tuna, of course, is the most of the fish that we're catching here in Southern California have not spawned yet. They haven't. Actually, they're not old enough.
Yeah, I would say nearly all of them.
Nearly all of them.
Yes.
So we're taking stock out of the resource that has never had a chance to reproduce.
But if we only capitalized on fish that did spawn, we wouldn't catch any.
That's
because
true, too.
It's like albacore. Yeah. These fish, they spend their time here. They forage 2-3 years off our coast, and then they make the trek all the way across, maybe 4 years, and they make the trek all the way back across. And not all the fish come, not all of the fish in a certain year class are here, because half of them may be in Japan, or maybe more than half, or maybe we're only seeing a fraction that comes across. But then they go back and they start the adult life cycle. So we're going to see juveniles, and now we're going to capitalize on juveniles,
and that's okay.
That's okay, because otherwise we would have no fishery.
Because if you take the breeding stock out,
well, we don't have adults off the California coast for the most part.
Yeah,
you may have an occasional individual that has spawned before. However, to my knowledge, there's very few. Even these large fish. I think the Southwest Center did some sampling this year, and even some of those 160, 180 pounders had not spawned yet.
Really? Amazing. So where are the spawners? Where is this Pacific stock spawning?
They spawn off the coast of Japan. There's 2 areas in the, I guess it would be the Western Pacific, and those are the spawning grounds. Those are known spawning grounds. They're targeted pretty heavily on the spawning grounds. Japan has a lot of pressure there. So it's okay the fact that we target juveniles is okay, especially given the fact that especially now, our approach is very conservative at this point, I think.
Yeah, with 2 fish limit.
2 fish limit, and I think but we're doing that to lead by example.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Let's hope that other countries like Japan follow suit and realize that the stocks need to be preserved.
Everyone needs to.
Yeah.
Everyone. Unfortunately, it's a very lucrative fish. It can be worth so much money, and so it's going to be difficult. Not to mention the ocean's so big that it's going to be hard to enforce.
Yeah. That cover it for you, Don?
That sure did. Thank you again so much.
All right. Thanks for getting us started here, and happy Thanksgiving weekend to you. That does free up 877-792-1090 open right now. Let's go ahead and jump back in the phone.
You got it, man. How about we talk to Kenny? He's calling us from UTC this morning. Kenny, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning.
Hi,
Kenny.
I got a couple questions about the swordfish.
All right.
When they're fishing them that deep, do they use squid for bait or mackerel?
We're using we've used both. We see about the same success rate with both mackerel and squid. I think when they're down that deep, the swordfish is a unique fish. It's just an eating machine. Eats during the day and at night.
Oh, really?
So usually whatever you present it with, they'll consume. On the East Coast, they use strip
this part of California or Central California?
One more time there. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry. Are they fishing your chef's fishery? Is it off our coast local, or is it further Central California?
So far, lately, it's been in the Southern California Bight. So Point Conception down to the Mexican border. That's where almost all the trials have been conducted.
Yeah. So now this year we had that amazing marlin bite off of the Channel Islands. A lot of squid in that area. Would there also be swordfish in that zone?
There could be, but swordfish are really a unique predator. They spend most of their time at night. They're feeding at the surface. So at night, they're capitalizing on the same food that other surface-oriented predators like marlin do. And during the day, though, that's when they specialize. That's when you see them down, 1,500 feet, and they're feeding on a completely different resource down there. A lot of myctophids, flashlight fish, large squid, the Dosidicus, the big jumbo squids, hake. Hake is probably one of the most important prey species. We don't see these other billfish, feeding on that. I probably would if they're hard up, but the swordfish can follow the resource down. They feed all day and then feed all night.
Why is a swordfish so different than other pelagic species that it can feed so deep?
Well, it's got several adaptations for deep diving. One is that eye. I don't know if you've ever seen a swordfish.
So
giant.
cool, man. It's so cool.
Big grapefruit looking at you. It's got the most awesome color, too. This thing is highly evolved for low light conditions. It's a perfect predator for really low light, very dark conditions. So they're adapted, and they also have an eye and brain heater. They have a muscle behind their eye that warms that central nervous system, so it keeps them on edge even at depth.
Wow!
And not to mention, we have some work that's funded by National Science Foundation looking at their ability to tolerate these temperatures. Spend all day long at temperature in the 40s, and then come up to the surface and spend the entire night in the 70s.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What an amazing species.
It's cool, man. It's really, really cool. Now, you said you were fishing, or that you're fishing that gear at 12 to 1,500 feet deep. How deep is that relative to the bottom that one's fishing in? Are you putting a piece of bait right on the bottom, or is it up a ways, or is 1,200 feet just an area that they like to be in?
Yeah, it all depends. But for the most part, we're fishing in open water. Mm-hmm. It's not like Florida or Texas where they go down to the bottom and they fish on top of some bump or whatever, and they bring it up a few cranks. We're actually fishing in the water column, usually on these different current lines, edges, and the fish is there because of the deep scattering layer.
Okay.
So on your machine, you'll see a deep scattering layer that migrates up to the surface at night. And it's
Explain a deep scattering layer.
The deep scattering layer it's one of the world's most dense accumulation of prey species. You get a lot of really small fish and crustaceans and squids that make up this dense band. And on your fish finder, you'll see at night it comes up from the depth slowly, and you start seeing your meter get very cluttered with organisms at night. And it's that they migrate down during the day and back up to the surface at night. And the swordfish capitalize on that resource. And it happens to be, anywhere from 800 to 1,500 feet during the day off our coast. Certain other places in the world, it's a lot deeper.
Okay. Is the deep scattering layer everywhere off our coast or just concentrated in certain areas?
No, it's everywhere. However, it's more concentrated in certain areas, and we'll see that. But that's the way it is around the world. If you go at night, you'll see sometimes when you're going, you'll see all kinds of action at the surface around you in the lights. And you're like, wow, look at all those fish. And you can go 5-6 miles away from there on a different portion of the water, and you don't see anything.
Sure.
So it's very patchy.
Fascinating stuff.
That's so cool, man.
You have been working hard on this.
Yeah, a little
bit.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I love swordfish. That's one of my favorite. Just seeing one I see one at the surface gets your hair on end and
nothing.
Yeah, and I usually lose my voice. I'm already starting to do it right now.
Just talking about them.
Nothing in the world better than seeing those two things in the binoculars. Okay, man, I got one.
Purple color.
Yeah.
So the stories I've heard before from guys that are harpooners and stuff like that is that fish is up on the surface digesting what they ate all night. Is that true?
That's probably true. That's what we would. I mean, that's probably the most credible hypothesis is that they feed at depth all day long. They gorge. They come up to the surface because they can speed up metabolism and process that food a lot faster. So they come up to the surface. They're not feeding. That's why, I mean, most, it depends on who you talk to, but most of the time you pitch a bait to them and they want nothing to do with it. They just slowly swim away. They're usually doing circles at first, and then they kind of start straight lining, and then they go back down. So it's thought that they go down, feed. Once they gorge, they come up to the surface. That's one other thing is that maybe that's why we haven't seen a lot of basking activity. Maybe the prey resource is not there, and we're not seeing this prey in high concentration in order for them to gorge like we have in the past. But who knows? It's hard to say. But yeah, they come up to the surface, warm back up, and then go right back down.
They're so docile when they come to the surface, just kind of swimming around. You can a lot of times just get really close to them.
If I had that bill, I'd be
and they're not worried about a whole lot, are they?
Nobody messes. All right, hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning. Appreciate that. That does free up 877-792-1090.
All right, let's jump right back into the phones. Talk to Leroy, calling us from Rancho Peñasquitas. Hey, Leroy, welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good.
What's up, Leroy?
I got a question about for Rick about a fishing reel, the Calcutta Conquest 400.
Right.
When will you get those in?
Calcutta Conquest? I don't have an answer for it. I'm not sure when that will be something that we have. I know that it was an ICAST introduction, and we've got 100s and 200s, and I don't have the answer for it, Leroy. I'm sure soon. I don't know what their availability is. It's a very cool reel, though.
It's an awesome reel. I've used it. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So for those that don't know, it's kind of, for lack of a better words, it's the most souped-up Calcutta that they make. It's got a lot of cool features. It was a reel that's been around for a while in the Japanese market, and then just came over to this one the last couple of years, and just a lot of high-performance stuff. It's got really good gears.
Upper end of the Calcutta.
Wiffled frame, wiffled spool, got a little safety on the level line. So
casting is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just a
lot of characteristics that allow you to control the cast.
Exactly, yeah. Very high-end cast control features. Just a very souped-up Calcutta. But, hopefully soon would be the best word I got, Leroy. It's a very cool reel.
Yeah, the one I was using most was the 300. I thought that was a really nice size, especially for our coast and what we do here. But the 400, the thing is strong enough that you could catch tuna on.
Yeah.
No question about it.
The cool thing about the new Calcuttas is that, following suit of Trinidad and things like that, is they're all smaller versus the original size you were used to. So if you grew up fishing a Calcutta 400 forever, like a bunch of us did, it was a pretty darn wide bass. Or the new Calcutta 400 is about the size of a 300, so it fits in your hand a lot better, but it still holds the same amount of line. They're cool reels.
Same amount of line, but smaller size, kind of like the same concept as the Trinidad A versus the standard Trinidad.
You got it,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, same deal. Hey, thanks a lot for the call, Leroy. I appreciate that.
All right, hey, with that, we're going to find out what's going on in the Baja. It's time for the Catch Report with the Cast Man, Richard Castanedo from Cast Tours. Today's Catch Report sponsored by Job Site Supply, specializing in the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing trades. Come see the full line of Louisville ladders at Job Site Supply. Plus, they have the exclusive logo lock system in-house, which allows you to take your company name and logo and embed it permanently into the fiberglass to deter theft. You can keep track of your ladders on the job site, and for more information on that or all the great stuff that Skeet and Dan and all the boys do at Job Site Supply, check out JobSiteSupplyCo.com for more details. Let's talk to the Cast Man, Richard Castanedo from Cast Tours. Buenos dias, Cast Man.
Buenos dias, Pedro.
Cast Man.
And Chugey.
How we doing, Cass?
What's up, Cass?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, Pete.
Hey, Cass.
I was a little thrown back that you did not know what the deep scattering area was.
Well,
Man.
I know what it looks like on the meter. I just don't know what it is.
Man, I'm telling you, after all these years.
Cass,
wow.
did you know what it is?
Oh, of course.
The Cast Man, dude. Come on.
And by the way, I'm glad to know that those swordfish are heading up off the Oregon coast. Guess I'm going to start fishing them in deep water.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
And the sea bass
definitely.
too, right? You'd be the first one to catch sea bass off of Oregon coast. How's that sound?
Yeah, right there, right at the mouth of Sayusla River.
Perfect.
It should be really good.
Perfect.
Anyway, let's get on with the report. Cabo San Lucas, San Jose, little Cabo area, some great fishing going on down there. Billfish, mostly stripers, a few sails mixed in, occasional blue marlin. And then, that pertains all the way up to the Sea of Cortez there around Punta Gordo, and then, of course, up on the Pacific side up toward the Golden Gate. Yellowfin tuna, still pretty good, consistent bite on those. Most of the fish are going to range anywhere between 15, 20, up to 50, 60 pounds. No big boys this past week that I heard of. But there's still a chance to get those out at the inner Gordo or at the Gordo Bank this time of year. Just drifting some slow trolled skipjack or bolito. Those are primary baits for them. Or even right now, the Chihuili is also another good bait for those. Dorado, those things have really come on. Everybody was getting all panicky because they were just getting little dinks and very few of them, but they're coming back in and some nice quality fish coming in. Most of the fish, 15 to 20. They're getting a few 30s and a few 40s in the count also. Over in Mazatlan there, sailfish primarily the main billfish bite there. Averaging about 1 per boat per day on those sails. Also a few tuna, a few dorado, but primarily it's billfish in Mazatlan. And down at Zihuatanejo, Ixtapa area, here again, another good week on the sailfish there. I'd say probably 4, 5, 6 sailfish per boat per day. Up in the Troncones area there, Pete, your surfing spot, the roosterfish and the jacks are providing some pretty good action for the inshore guys there. So some pretty good fishing going out. And as we get into the winter, we're going to start seeing, you'll start hearing more of my reports coming in for that southern part of mainland Mexico. And then, of course, over to Cancun, which is a really good winter fishery this time of year. Anyway, that's a report for the week, Pedro, and I'll talk to you guys next Saturday.
All right, Cass Man, anybody want to come on a trip with Cass Tours? I know there were a couple spots left on Christmas Island in May going with us. How do we get a hold of you?
800-593-6510 or on the web at www.casstours.com, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right, thanks, Cass. Appreciate a great report as always. Look forward to talking to you next Saturday, and that's going to wrap up our Catch Report again. Sponsored in part by Fisherman's Processing in San Diego. It's long-range season and time to pre-book your processing orders with Fisherman's Processing before your trip. That way you're the first in line when your trip returns. Friend them on Facebook at Fisherman's Processing, or for more details, check fishermansprocessing.com. And those were some pretty busy guys there the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they were.
With as busy as the day after as everybody going out. They all come back at the same time for Thanksgiving, and those guys were going crazy, man.
Yeah.
They made it happen, as they always do.
Of course they do, and they keep it rolling, and they'll be doing it again every week as things progress here. They're probably processing some local tuna too.
I'm sure. Well, with as much fishing is going on in the San Diego, and dolphin now, and all the good fishing is going on, it's been crazy. I think those guys make it happen.
Let's go ahead and jump into the phones, Rick.
You got it. How about this time we talk to Adolfo, who's calling us from Riverside this morning. Adolfo, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning, Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning.
Good morning, Adolfo.
My question here is for the doctor. I want to know where did he get his PhD and why?
I grew up in Orange, city of Orange. I went to Cal State Fullerton. I did a master's there at Cal State Fullerton, working on tuna in Hawaii mainly. And then afterwards, I was fortunate enough to go to Scripps Institution of Oceanography here in San Diego for my PhD work.
Wow.
And why? Yeah, I kind of wonder why sometimes, too, considering how much some other fields make compared to mine. But it's actually a really rewarding field. I enjoy fish. My wife also graduated from Scripps there with a PhD and doing the same thing. So it's nice to go home and talk fish. And
cool.
Pretty much everything in my house is fish.
It's
fish related, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a fisherman first. That's what you.
Yeah, I mean
that's what you do.
I think that's why. I mean that's the background is I spent a little time doing some construction work, like all of us probably have, and makes in no time at all you realize, you know what, the worst day fishing beats the best day with a shovel.
That's a good one. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning.
Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming away, including more of your phone calls, a big block when we return. If you want to get through, been a busy morning, but a good chance right now with an open phone line, 858 area code 457-1090, and for the first time this morning, a toll-free number open, 877-792-1090. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the mighty 1090.
Are you feeling that itch to get out on the water? Come fishing on the American Angler and reacquaint yourself with some familiar faces and make new friends. Captain owners Brian Kiyohara and Sam Patella take pride in every aspect of the American Angler operation, from their loyal and trusted crew to the sashimi-grade fresh fish you'll take home. It's easy to find a vacation that fits your schedule. We have everything from day-and-a-half to 10-day trips and longer. Call me at the office, 619-223-5414, or check us out at AmericanAnglerSportFishing.com. We want you to become a part of the American Angler family.
22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro is home to LA's finest open party fleet, including overnights on the Freedom, Catalina Freelance on the Pursuit, half-day trips on the Monte Carlo, and three-quarter-day trips on the Native Sun. Plus, you can charter the Ultra, Spectra, and Trueline. There is always plenty of free parking and a fully stocked tackle store. Take advantage of the Wednesday specials on the Pursuit and Monte Carlo, and kids fish free with a paid adult on the afternoon half-day. 22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro. Call 310-832-8304 or book online at 22ndstreet.com.
For East Cape Fishing, Jen Wren is known as the best. This is Mark Rayer. Great service, top quality equipment, including all accurate reels, CalStar rods, and Cimarron electronics, has put my immaculately maintained twin-engine cruisers in a class of their own. For memories of a lifetime, just bring your hat and sunglasses, and we'll provide a fishing experience that will exceed your expectations. Our calendar's filling fast, so don't miss out. For packages, 2 live webcams, a weekly fishery report, and more, check out TeamJenWren.com. We pick up at all East Cape resorts, so let's go fishing.
Hey, this is Captain Paul Hebert from the Wicked Pisser. My brother Bruce and I make a living catching giant bluefin tuna. In fact, I wouldn't even go fishing with any other sunglasses than Maui Jim. Put a pair of Maui Jims on and instantly the glare is gone, the UV that can damage your eyes is gone, the ocean's true colors come shining through like never before. And with more contrast and clarity, you can see the bluefin at that critical time. Take it from me. Try a pair at your local tackle shop or check out MauiJim.com. You won't believe your eyes.
XEPRS 1090 AM Rosarito, Baja California.
You're listening to the home of the Aztecs.
He's gone. Touchdown. Aztecs.
San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Like we mentioned going into the break there, a very good opportunity if you want to get through. Talk to Dr. Chugey Sepulveda, 858-457-1090. Only one of those, but we do have the toll-free number open. That's 877-792-1090.
All right, let's go ahead and jump back into those phones, Rick.
You got it. How about we talk to Ed, calling us from Mira Mesa this morning. Good morning, Ed. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hi, guys. Hey, I got a couple questions. One is on the bottom fishing. You know, I've been pulling up salmon grouper, and the thing is, you know, you can only catch so many of those guys. Are they going to take a look into that and maybe to where they'll give us a quota a little bit more on catching those fish? And Also, when does the rockfish, when does it stop? Is it December 1st or January 1st?
Well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to punt here in a second because I'm not really that up on my demersal fish regs, so I'm not a big rockfish guy. I do know though that NOAA does a really good job at really trying to keep track of the bottomfish species. I mean, ever since they've been adopted as a federally managed group, they're really on it. So the regs
and the regs are working.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are. I've seen better rock fishing here the last few years, and unfortunately, it's going to take, for a lot of these fish, it takes a long time. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but isn't it the end of the month?
End of December.
Yeah.
End of December.
January 1st.
January,
it
February
will be closed. Correct.
Yeah, in Southern California waters. But the good news is a lot as they become more prolific and the species come back, is the regulations get eased a little bit. Like I believe now you can fish up to 40 fathoms. Is that right?
Now you can fish up to, I know 50 fathoms, and I know that I think it might be up to as high as 60. But I'll look before the show ends. But I know for sure that we can fish 50 fathoms and above
for the better.
And I know Ken Franke comes into the landing all the time, obviously keeping all the boats up to date with what's going on with SAC. He just cannot. And I don't want to say preach enough because that's not the case, but he says a major reason we're getting some of these depths back is because of the use of those rockfish descending devices. And, you talked about Bocaccia. There certainly is a quota or a number on Bocaccia. That's why that fish is limited. I believe it's only 2 per angler, at least in the Southern California area. And again, we'll clear all this up before the show ends because this is all just going from memory.
Each area has their own regulations.
Exactly.
So be aware of that.
That's a big thing to follow. But he said so much of the ease is because of the use and showing the effectiveness of those rockfish descending devices, so that when you catch your 2 fish, it's apparent that you can with very, very little effort you can clip a I like that rock lease tool. It's super easy to use, and if you accidentally catch a 3rd one, you clip the thing on, you drop it in a sinker, you drop them back down nice and slow, you shake it one time, and you wind the thing back up, and they're good to go again. And so Ken is just certain that a big reason we're starting to gain access is because we're showing.
And it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's effective. I've been on some of the rock fishing release programs that some of your peers from Scripps have been working on. I know some of the guys that you have worked with in the past do quite extensive work on that, and it's successful. The successful release is quite high.
Yeah, it is. Especially, when you look at them sometimes too, you think to yourself, "There's no way this thing's going to make it."
Yeah, right.
And then they just send them down; they seem to do just fine.
Yeah.
So that's one real easy way for us to have less of an impact on the resource, is just to ensure that what we do catch, if we don't want it, we release it back alive.
So please, those of us that are going rockfish fishing here, please have a descending vise and use it. Takes a little time, takes a lot of effort sometimes, but it's going to help the resource and help us ease up the regulations, right, Chugey?
Yeah, and years like this one where a lot of the boats are targeting pelagic fish, that's got to do a lot of good for the resource also. Give them a little bit of a break. Yeah. Everybody's targeting tuna these days.
Yes, indeed. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning. Appreciate that. Always good to talk about rockfish, and the future of the rockfish fishery is getting brighter because of the work that's being done by the Sport Fishing Association and a lot of guys at Scripps that are using and developing descending devices.
I'm with Chugey, though. I'd just rather just always have yellowfin tuna in November, December, and then we just don't need to worry about rockfish. We just have tuna all year long. We had tuna all year long and yellowtail all year long, which damn near we've had. There's not been a time where you couldn't go target a yellowtail in like the last 2 years. Is what's so crazy.
Yeah, which is great.
Wintertime yo-yo jig fishery has been awesome.
Yeah, and then just go look around right now. Almost every one of those little kelp patties that's floating around has 4-inch yellowtail on it. So they're a very prolific species that we're fortunate to have. Great eating fish, a lot of fun. Especially getting them on the iron. That's just nothing. There's nothing like that.
When I was in Ohio for Thanksgiving, some of the family members were asking, "Well, if I come out there in January, are we going to catch tuna?" And I kind of went, "Yes."
Yeah. When have you ever been able to say that?
All right, we'll do that.
That's pretty darn cool. Hey, let's jump back into the phones because they're definitely getting packed up. Ari in Venice Beach, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Good morning, Ari.
How you doing, guys?
Great.
I just got back from that Alaska air flight to Liberia, Guanacaste.
Yes.
And what an amazing place that is. I got a 125-pound sailfish, catch and release.
Sweet.
I got a 30-pound mahi and about 30 red snappers.
Whoa!
Place is amazing. The flight is real fast flight. It's an amazing place to go.
It's
also,
so
I had a
easy,
question.
too, right? It's so easy to get to the beach from there. It's not far, and the airport's nice and small and easy in, easy out, and that Alaska flight is nice. Where did you stay, Ari, and who'd you fish with?
I stayed at Villa Divina, right there, a little south of Tamarindo, near Playa Negra, and the Ponga guys there just put me on some awesome fish. There's about 5 or 6 Pongas to choose from. And I also had a question about slow trolling a live bait, what the speed would be, and maybe the hook to use and where to hook in the bait.
So is that a question for me?
Sure, why
Yes.
not?
Yeah. Well, I think that at least I think it's going to depend on where you are and what bait you're using for sure. Like if you use a Spanish mackerel, you've got to slow it way down. Those things just start showing their side and kind of start skipping back there. A greenie, a nice chub mackerel, nice greenback mackerel, you might want to call them. They can handle a couple knots, 2 knots, 2.5, but they're nice and strong. Sardine, you want to slow it way down. Oftentimes, as slow as your boat will go. I think that's and hooking them on the nose, of course, is good. If you can bridle them, that's always going to be the best. Your hook's completely exposed, and you don't have to worry about the damage that happens when you ram that hook through his nose. But not everyone has a needle and thread ready. So I think that it's bridling is definitely the way to go, and slow trolling live bait. That's probably the most effective technique for every species.
Now, they have these new little clips that you can bridle with. Do you carry those at Fisherman's Line Tackle?
We don't, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I've
seen those before.
Yeah.
I've told myself 2 or 3 times I want to try one.
I say the same thing. I know Wheeler says they're just like the greatest thing ever. I want to try it too. I just never have.
Yeah, and easy too. Just like putting on a lure onto a Siwash clip or something like that, right?
Yeah, Roger.
I know that if sometimes when we're using an extra sharp hook, like a really good hook, a gamakatsu, like an octopus 4X hook or something, we're just trying to slow troll up a yellowtail or something. I've had problems crossways through the nose when that bait is back there shaking around where the hook point kind of rolls back inside and catches itself in the cheek.
Especially with a circle hook.
Yeah.
Oh, you see that all the time.
So I've been trying, and the bait definitely doesn't last quite as long, but sometimes I'll take my hook and go right through the opening of the roof of the mouth. So not through the bottom lip and through the top, but just mouth open, go right through the upper roof of the mouth and bring the hook point out through the in front of the nose kind of thing.
The hook is up.
Yeah, the hook is pointed up, and it's at least it definitely does not last as long, sideways through the nose. That bait, with nothing tangling it up when you're soldiering around, it'll last until a sea lion eats it, basically. So a good 2 minutes. But it lasts a long time with that thing hooked up through the mouth, at least plenty good. And then you don't, if you're using a real sharp hook, sometimes you don't have to worry about that hook point grabbing the wrong part of the cheek there or something.
Good stuff. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call and the report on Liberia to that Alaska flight. It's a cool zone. It's a really great zone. Speaking of Mark Wheeler and the San Diego County Ford dealers, don't forget this is their big sell-a-thon weekend. If you're in the market for a Ford car or truck, this is the weekend to buy it. I purchased my Ford Transit Connect a year ago today, and the reason I did it is because Mark, my friend, said, wait till the sell-a-thon. There is no better time to buy a Ford car or truck than the Thanksgiving sell-a-thon. So if you're thinking about it, go visit your San Diego County Ford dealer today or tomorrow, and they'll be glad to hook you up with a new vehicle.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go. Let's jump in the phones.
You got it. Paul in El Cajon, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Paul. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I had a question for the doctor about tuna species, seeing as he's a doctor of tuna.
Chugey's great.
I can see you squirming every time somebody says doctor.
I can see myself. I'm getting in trouble here.
Chugey.
What's the deal with the big eye right now? I wonder if he has any thoughts on where the big eye are. And then also maybe he can make a few comments about some of the unusual tuna species, like the bullet tuna that we've seen up here, and whether or not he thinks that's only going to happen because of the El Nino, or is there some kind of more permanent shift of some of these more tropical tuna species up north?
Well, with respect to the big eye tuna, it's pretty unfortunate, but I think the past several years, I think going back maybe 5, 6, 7, we've seen the big eye tuna population. It's been in better places. There's been since the advent of fad fishing in the Eastern Pacific. So FADS, use of fish aggregating devices or floating object fishery. It's what a lot of the fisheries, purse seine fishery switched to when they switched away from dolphins, fishing dolphins, which predominantly targets somewhat larger yellowfin tuna. You catch a lot of juvenile big eye tuna around FADS, and that has probably led to a severe decline in the population. When the population's not doing that well, you don't see as many fish on the periphery of the range. And we're really on the periphery of the range here.
Versus before FADS, they were prolific.
Yeah, they were. Yes, the population was much healthier. I've got some colleagues down there at the Tuna Commission that much better versed for this question. But I think that one of the reasons why we're not seeing so many is because the population's not doing as well as it was in the past. Because typically in an El Nino, we should see a lot more on, floating kelps there at the end of the year. You would think you'd see a few more caught than we did.
We've seen almost none.
Yeah, hardly any.
So what's the future for big eye? Is it in big trouble?
I think that right now that they're working on trying to make sure that the problem doesn't get any worse. Yeah. And they're doing a lot of work. Folks there are doing a lot of tagging work, trying to figure out ways to do. Oftentimes, the big eye tuna is not the target of the set. It's skipjack or yellowfin tuna, but it's caught inadvertently, and they're really small. So they're trying to work on ways to reduce that in the purse seine fishery. And with respect to other tunas, bullet tuna, so the two species of frigate tuna, the Oxus thazard and rochii, both of them were found up here this summer. And I have to say that I think that's just because of the El Nino. You find, wherever you find bullet tuna, and you're going to find blue marlin pretty close by, too.
So cool.
And that's
why they had a lot of blue marlin.
That's another thing that's probably here for the warm water conditions and might probably not be around when those recede, when we get into a La Nina condition.
So there's some theories going around that a lot of these tropical fish, like the blue marlin, like the wahoo, like the short-billed spearfish, didn't migrate north. They migrated from Hawaii, from the southwest.
It's hard to say. I definitely think that most of the push this year was from the southwest. And you could see that just in your terrafin or your SST imagery. It didn't come right up the beach like it does some years.
Yeah.
We saw some of the islands and in inshore waters inside 50 miles kind of being relatively cold, and then all of a sudden fish were showing up, out of the blue.
Yeah.
So that's probably the case, but I don't think anyone was doing any tagging or can document it for sure. Best way to probably is look at talk to some of the 1, 2, 3 day boats and just say, okay, where did you first start seeing them? And watch it march in.
What was the progression?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right.
Is that a thing that you or I mean, like I said, obviously we don't even know for sure, but is that something that is a somewhat common thing for that warm water to be coming in from more to the west than it is from the south? Is that an unheard of thing? Do we see it all the time? This is just a much stronger one. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not an oceanographer.
Yeah.
I'm more of a fish head. So fish questions I'm all for. In terms of the oceanography, I think this is very typical of an El Nino situation. However, it's probably better suited for someone who studies just ocean currents because they're quite complicated, especially when you get in Southern California here. We have all the islands, all the high spots, the ridge. All of them cause these smaller upwelling events and change currents and deflect things around. And so it's really hard to say what's happening where. But right now, I can guarantee you the water's going uphill.
Uphill.
Yeah.
And that's good for us
along the beach.
January tuna.
Along the beach, yes. I think that we're going to have some good fishing here. And it feels right. I like the way it feels right now. Kind of a little cold. Kind of feels like an late October scenario.
I saw steam rising off the water in the harbor the other day.
not a bad sight.
Yeah, that means that the air is warmer than the water, or the air is colder than the water. I mean, you see that in Florida sometimes and stuff like that. But here, come on, really,
I'll take it.
I know my dad's babe asked him this morning, and that was the text I got on the way. And he goes, "Man, it's cold out here this morning."
Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. It's time for the Catch Report. We're going to hear about all the great stuff that's going on right now and a lot more of your phone calls. Again, if you want to get through, 858-457-1090 or 877-792-1090. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Mighty 1090.
Happy holidays from Fisherman's Landing Tackle. This is Doug Kern. Be sure to get that saltwater angler on your list what they really want. A gift from Fisherman's Landing Tackle and Shimano. We have the best Shimano has to offer, including Talica, Trinidad A, Therese, Stella, Saragossa, Tranks, Terramar, Waxwing, Cold Sniper, Butterfly, Torium, Tiagra, and too much more from Shimano to mention. Bottom line, we have the most complete selection of Shimano saltwater tackle and the knowledge to help you pick out the perfect gift. Check out our web specials and much more at saltwatertackle.com or come by and see us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. Fisherman's Landing has been the choice of sport fishing anglers for decades with the largest fleet of long-range boats worldwide, complemented by Southern California's finest charter and open party fleet. From a half-day trip on the Dolphin to overnight trips or a long-range adventure, you can count on Fisherman's Landing to deliver the best. Check the website for all that is going on or call Fisherman's Landing at 619-221-8500. Book now at fishermanslanding.com.
This is Captain Art Taylor of the 95-Foot Searcher. Team Searcher would like to thank all of our great customers for their support in our fantastic 2015 season. The Searcher has a fantastic crew, great food, air-conditioned cabins and galley, satellite TV, and an RSW system to preserve your catch. Our 2016 schedule is out, so don't miss the boat. Book your trip online at searchersportfishing.com or call Celia and Jen at 619-226-2403. That's 619-226-2403.
The new Shimano Torium HG is here, and you'll be able to experience this fantastic reel now at your local Shimano dealer. The new Torium is up to 30% smaller than the previous generation, but still has the same line capacity. The smaller S compact body design and one-piece die-cast aluminum frame provides more rigidity and lighter weight. Torium now has EI surface treatment and is tested up to 700 times the corrosion resistance of past models. The new Shimano Torium HG is not only better on the outside, the inside is amazing, with a cross-carbon drag providing up to 24 pounds of drag pressure from a Star Drag reel. It has a sealed roller clutch and 6.2 to 1 brass gears. The machined aluminum handle has a larger knob to make it easy to crank in the big fish. The new lightweight aluminum spool gives you better casting and control. Available in 3 sizes, the Torium HG is the next evolution in compact, rigid, and powerful saltwater Star Drag reels. Get it now at your local Shimano dealers.
XEPRS 1090 AM Rosarito, Baja California.
The best NFL coverage is right here.
Inside the pylon for a touchdown.
San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
This is Greg Stotesbury from AFCO. For more than 55 years, the American Fishing Tackle Company has been recognized as the premier manufacturer of precision-built offshore fishing tackle. AFCO continues this tradition today with an innovative technical fishing clothing line designed and built for ultimate performance on the water. From our next-generation fishing shorts like the Tactical Camo or Stealth Shorts to our AF Block sun protection shirts like the Fish Ninja and Samurai Sun Hoodie, the entire AFCO clothing lineup is purpose-built with the latest AFTech fabrics and designed with functional features to deliver top performance for the demanding angler. Visit www.afco.com to find a dealer near you.
The summer fishing season this year was nothing short of incredible, and everyone I talked to is expecting continued success well into the fall season. Your San Diego County Ford dealers are having a remarkable summer too, with no sign of slowing down. They continue to hook people up with a great selection of models that offer outstanding MPG and advanced technology, like the fun-to-drive Focus and the popular Fusion, available as a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. Ford also has an impressive list of SUVs like Escape, Edge, Explorer, and Expedition. Well, no matter what you need, Ford has an SUV for you. And for serious fishermen that have boats to haul and gear to move, you can't beat the Ford F-150. It's not only stronger than ever, it's 700 pounds lighter, so it's faster and more efficient. Bottom line, Ford cars and trucks and SUVs are built for San Diego. Stop by your San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Doing business with the right company always pays off, and JobSite Supply is that kind of company, selling commercial contractor supplies since 1987. JobSite Supply specializes in the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing trades with lines like Unistrut, the original metal framing system featuring the unique webless connection. Unistrut metal framing is the time and money-saving alternative to conventional support methods. Come see the largest supply of Unistrut at JobSite Supply. Check JobSiteSupplyCo.com for more details.